Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. My name is Jasmine. Please excuse this really weird introduction for a yoga video. I just had some issues with the audio on the original clip. So today I am bringing you a 25-minute detox flow that is focusing on releasing any stress or tension that's built up in the neck, shoulders, or upper back. So if that sounds like something you'd like to join us on today, go ahead and get into something comfy, grab some water, and I will meet you in a seated position on your mat. See you soon. All right, my friends, let's start our practice by closing the eyes and bringing the hands to the knees. Starting to drop into stillness and taking note of where our breath is at today naturally, not trying to force anything, just observing. Bringing the hands over the heart, taking a moment to think of if there's any parts of ourselves that need a little bit of extra love today, a little bit of extra support. If so, just start by sending some loving thoughts, taking a moment for some gratitude for ourselves for taking the time. Bringing the hands to the knees and coming into some shoulder rolls. So bringing the shoulders up to the ears and back, drawing little circles, creating some space in the chest. And reverse your circle, drawing the shoulders up and forward. Coming into some shoulder shrugs. So bringing the shoulders up towards the ears and drop. Using a little bit of force, inhale, shoulders up, and exhale, drop. Doing these a few more times at our own pace. Getting some movement going, wiggling around a little bit, free-flowing, no right or wrong, and when you're ready, planting the right hand on the ground. Inhale, left arm comes up towards the sky and over to the right, feeling that nice stretch in the side body. Bouncing around a couple of times, not trying to look any type of way, just doing what feels good for your body and making sure not to overstretch. So be cautious of that left hip staying grounded. And also being aware of what's going on with the neck. If there's any tension at all, any pinching, bringing your gaze towards the mat. If not, you can go ahead and bring your gaze up and over, up and under the left arm towards the ceiling. And then coming up to center and over to the other side. Bouncing it out, keeping that right hip nice and grounded. And if need be, bringing the gaze down towards the mat. There should never be any kind of tension or pain, so just be gentle, be slow, and be mindful of what feels good. If something doesn't feel good, come out of it. Although I'm guiding you through this practice, it's totally yours, so make it your own, and if you want to tweak something, please feel free. And on the next inhale, coming up towards center, bringing the gaze towards the ceiling, and hands to heart. Sweeping the arms up overhead and bringing hands to heart. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale up, drawing a nice big circle with the arms, and exhale, hands to heart. And reverse, inhale, arms up and out, drawing a big circle downwards. Inhale, hands to prayer, bringing it up and around, keeping the spine nice and straight. Inhale up and around and down. Inhale and coming to center. Taking a moment here, bringing the gaze over the left shoulder and then the right. Really gentle movements here, not a lot of force. When you're ready, bringing the hands to the knees, let's go ahead and do some neck rolls. So bringing chin to chest and around and back, making sure that your circles aren't too big, that there is any pain, because this can be very sensitive for some people. So just take it nice and slow, chin to chest as we exhale, and as we inhale, bringing the neck back and around. Maybe each time around you start to go a little bit deeper, but just tread lightly, stay aware of what feels good. And let's reverse our circle, going to the other side, chin to chest, bringing the head back and around, staying aware of the strength in your spine and how that's holding you up, making sure not to cave in through the shoulders, but feel free to add some fun movement in here. So when we're bringing our head back and around, maybe opening the chest, and as we bring chin to chest, rounding the shoulders and coming into stillness. Let's make our way onto our hands and knees for some cat-cows. So bringing the hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips, moving around for a second, settling in and untucking the toes. Let's come into some free-flowing movement for a couple of breaths here, maybe bringing the hips back and forth, moving the shoulders around. And when you're ready, inhale, arching the back, bringing the gaze towards the ceiling, and exhale, round. Inhale, arching the back, gaze towards the ceiling, pressing away from the mat, and exhale, round. Let's go ahead and take a few more of these together at our own pace, tuning in with the breath, feeling a nice fluid movement. Feel free to spice up these cat and cows too if you're wanting to. Maybe bring the head as if you're drawing a little circle with the crown of the head and the hips are following. So take a moment to look at me if you'd like. Feel free to just keep doing cat-cows the way you were before, but if you want to add a little bit more movement into the spine, go ahead and just draw those circles with the head and the hips follow. If you are going to do this, make sure we're balancing it out. What we do on one side, we do on another. For those of us who are adding a little bit of movement, let's just do a couple cat-cows to neutralize. And when you're ready, walking the knees back a few inches, walking the hands forward a few inches for puppy pose, letting the heart melt into the mat. Feel free to stay here and rest on the forehead or the left or right cheek. But if you want to add a little more movement, act as if there's a wave of energy going through you. So when we inhale, gently rounding the spine, bringing the head forward, and exhale, bringing the heart to the mat, baby arch in the back. Feel free to continue this if this feels really good, or just go ahead and come down onto the right cheek, letting yourself be supported by the earth beneath you, hips nice and wide in the air, checking in with the knees. Making sure everything feels good. Again, if there's any kind of discomfort, please feel free to modify this, maybe coming into child's pose or just laying on the stomach. Wherever you're at with each breath, we're just sinking a little bit deeper. There's no force here. We're just allowing our bodies to go into a state of relaxation, decompress, shed any heavy energy that may have stuck to us throughout our day. And when you're ready, coming to a tabletop position, preparing ourselves for thread the needle. So planting the right hand on the mat, inhale, left arm comes up towards the sky and bringing it through and under that right arm. Extending the right hand forward, pressing into the mat, keeping hips nice and high and resting on the cheek. This is really good for opening the shoulders. So if you're someone who has a lot of tension in the upper shoulders and neck, staying in this posture for about 8 to 10 breaths on each side can make a world of a difference. On your next inhale, planting that right hand for support as we bring ourselves up into tabletop, arching the back, coming into a couple of cat-cows. Coming onto the other side, planting the left hand, right arm inhales towards the sky, and exhale, bring it down and under. Extending that left hand forward, coming onto the right cheek, keeping those hips nice and high, tuning into the breath, really feeling those big belly breaths as we inhale, and as we exhale, navel to spine. Taking a moment to just give yourself some love for being here and taking the time to show yourself some love. This is huge in a life that is so busy so much of the time. When you're ready, inhale, coming back to tabletop, maybe taking a couple more cat-cows if that feels good to you. If not, just resting in a neutral tabletop, taking a moment. Feeling how your body's feeling after these few poses we've done so far. When you're ready, we're going to come into an extended child pose. So bringing your knees to the distance of your mat, extending the arms forward, pressing back, feeling those hips open. Option to add a little bit of movement here as we inhale, gently rounding the back, just like that wave motion we did before. And as we exhale, bringing the head down to the mat, letting the heart melt. Inhale, rounding the back, and exhale, melt. Option here to bring the hands through and underneath the legs. This is really nice if you have some tension or stress built up in the upper shoulders and the upper neck, because it just helps kind of pull those shoulders back. So go ahead and see if that feels good. If not, feel free to keep the arms up and overhead. You can also bring your arms like airplane wings. That feels really, really good as well. Wherever you're at, if you were resting on one cheek, let's go ahead and switch to the other. And if you have the arms between the legs, let's go ahead and release them, bring them forward. Prepare for our first downward dog. So making our way there, walking out our dog, giving a big generous bend in the knees. We're not trying to look a certain way here. We're not going to try to just come into a perfect down dog right away. A lot of us have a lot of tension built up in the thighs and the calves, so just be slow, mindful. Slowly walk it out, stretching the arches of the feet, the calves. Also being mindful of your energy not pouring into your wrists, because this can cause some issues for people who have really sensitive wrists. So just bring some awareness, make sure that your weight is going into all four corners of the hands. Maybe you're bouncing up onto the toes. Having a little fun here, and when you're ready, inhale, bringing the left leg up towards the sky, and bringing it through the hands for a low lunge. Before we lower our knee, just bouncing around a little bit. And when you're ready, go ahead and bring the right knee down towards the mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, left arm comes up towards the sky. Taking a breath here. And when you're ready, exhale, planting that hand, tucking the right toes, bringing it up to meet the left for a forward fold. And we'll go into a couple cycles of inhaling to a halfway lift and exhale, forward fold, bringing the heart towards the thighs. Letting yourself do this to the pace of your own breath. And when you're ready, bringing your hands behind the thighs, hugging opposite elbows, letting the head be heavy. Releasing the hands and slowly making our way up to standing, vertebrae by vertebrae. And as we make our way to standing, when we get there, let's go ahead, bring the hands alongside the body, palms open, baby back bend, and bringing hands to heart. Let's do this a couple times. Inhale, arms alongside, chest opens, baby back bend, and hands to prayer. Inhale, opening the chest, gaze towards the ceiling, bringing the arms up towards the sky. Little back bend here, totally optional. And exhale, forward fold. Letting the head become heavy. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Stepping back into a plank pose, lowering the knees and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, baby cobra. Maybe bringing the gaze over the left and right shoulder. And exhale, coming back into downward facing dog. Walking it out, generous bends in the knees still. No need to try to look a certain way or force ourselves into a certain way we think a pose should look. Inhale, right leg comes up towards the sky and bring it through. Low lunge on the other side. Bounce it out a few times, and when you're ready, let's go ahead and lower that left knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, right arm up towards the sky, gaze follows. Taking a moment here. And when you're ready, exhale, planting the hand, tucking those left toes, bringing it up to meet the right. Forward fold. Let's do a couple more of those forward folds and halfway lifts. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Bring the arms behind the legs, interlacing opposite elbows. Letting the head be super heavy here. And releasing the hands, starting to straighten the legs as we slowly come up to standing. Inhale, arms up towards the sky, gaze follows, baby back bend here. And exhale, bringing hands to prayer. Let's go ahead and get into a wide-legged stance, get some movement going around in the hips, bouncing back from the left and the right heel. Taking a moment to tune in with the breath. And when we're ready, bringing the hands towards the side. Inhale, sweeping arms up overhead, coming into prayer as we lower into a squat. Being mindful of the knees, inhale, arms come up and down, drawing a big circle. We're going to repeat this a few times. Inhale, arms up towards the sky as we come into prayer pose, sinking into the knees. Inhale, arms up, drawing that big circle down. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Hands to prayer and lower into that squat. Bouncing around on the heels, getting some depth in the hips, coming into goddess pose, keeping those hands in prayer and pushing away from the knees with the elbows. If this is a little too much, please do come out of it and feel free to hang out in child's pose. If not, extending those arms open, pushing those knees away, really getting into those inner thighs, getting a good stretch in the inner thighs. And bringing the hands back to prayer. Inhale, slowly making our way back up to standing. Moving around in the hips a little bit. And when you're ready, coming to the top of our mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Baby back bend optional here. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Stepping the right and then the left foot back for plank pose. Lowering the knee. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Untucking the toes. Gazing over the left and right shoulder. Exhale, bringing our head down towards the mat. Inhale, coming back up to baby cobra. And exhale, bringing our head to the mat. Picturing this wave-like motion with the spine as we inhale, chest opens, heart follows, and exhale, bringing forehead to mat. Repeating this if this feels really good to you. Don't push yourself. If not, feel free to just lay on the left or right side of the cheek. And extending the arms behind you, resting on the left side of the cheek as the palms face the ceiling. No effort here, we're just letting ourselves be supported by the earth below us. Taking a few deep, big belly breaths here. Taking a few deep, big belly breaths. When you're ready, bringing the head back to center as we tuck the toes and bring the hands under the shoulders, slowly pushing up and back. Feel free to come into a child's pose here if that feels good for you. Taking a moment just to move however your body feels before we come into our closing posture. Whenever you're ready, making your way to a seated position, keeping the feet in front of us and the knees bent as we let our heart melt over the thighs. Maybe grabbing the feet with the hands. Letting the head just become really, really heavy here. Feeling the support of our body. And as we come down into Shavasana, let's be really, really slow and gentle with our spine, tuning into each vertebrae as we lower. And as we come down onto our backs, feel free to give a little bit of movement to any parts of your body that are calling for that right now. Maybe interlacing the fingers and bringing them up overhead. Giving some circles with the ankles and the feet. Take up some space. If there's anything you feel called to do right now, go ahead and do it. Maybe a happy baby, some supine twists. And when you're ready, coming into stillness by bringing the hands alongside the body with the palms facing the ceiling. Bringing the legs nice and wide towards the width of our mat. Closing the eyes if you haven't already. And just taking a moment to observe how you're feeling now compared to before we started this practice. Hopefully you're feeling some relief of tension, some more openness, some spaciousness. Bringing hands to the heart, taking a deep breath in through the nose, feeling the belly rise. And exhale through the mouth, navel to spine. Now allowing your breath to just become natural. Let it be. Whether it's 5, 10, or 20 minutes, having some kind of consistent practice where you show up for yourself. It'll look different for everyone, but showing up on your mat for yourself consistently does a huge wonder in the ability of how you show up in the world, how grounded you are. Being able to check in with your emotion and approach things in a calm manner. So not only should we tend to ourselves when we're not feeling well, but tend to yourselves often so that you show up in a way where you feel strong. This takes time, and this takes dedication to self-love. And you are on that journey if you're here right now. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana now. If you feel called to stay here for however long, feel free to sink into that. Thank you so much for joining with me today, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Namaste.